What's up folks, today we're going to be talking about Formula E. Now do not change the channel yet because I know what you're thinking, however, there's going to be a lot of crashes. Now we've covered almost every form of motorsport over the last 10 years, but Formula E is one of them we haven't touched on yet. Now I know what you're going to say in the comments below, that they don't sound loud enough, that they sound like a giant RC car or a vacuum cleaner or something out of the Jetsons. But as much as we like these internal combustion monsters behind us, it's inevitable that electric is going to eventually take over.
You can kick and scream all you want, but it's gonna happen.
Now, it's not too long ago that whenever we posted a video of a street race between a fast street car like this, people would always say, oh, but a GTR would beat that. And now, over the last couple of years though, people are constantly pulling out the line, but a Tesla would beat that. So that just goes to show the public perception of electric has changed quite substantially over the last couple of years. But what is motorsport like if you take the internal combustion engine out of the equation? Well, there's only one way to find out, and unfortunately, there are no Formula E rounds in Australia. So we're going to have to jump on a plane to go and check out one for ourselves. Just landed here in Hong Kong. As you can see, it's beautiful weather. Anyway, I know absolutely nothing about Formula E. There are many different things about Formula E that don't exist in other motorsport. For instance, the fans can vote on giving the cars a little bit of extra power and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is, while it's pissing down like this, I'm going to go chat to one of the drivers, see what they can tell us, and answer a bunch of our questions. All right, hopefully the weather clears up a bit because this is shaping up to be the first wet Formula E ever.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Abt, racing for Audi Sport in Formula E, and right now we are in Hong Kong for the 5th race of the season. We are in the paddock, which is basically in the middle of the city center. It's raining currently, so it's going to be a pretty exciting wet race, but I can't wait to get out in my race car again. Yeah, so what you see behind me, that's the Season 5 Gen 2 Formula E race car. It's a spec car, so it's the same for everyone, apart from what is in the back of it, meaning that we have our own development of drivetrain, gearbox, inverter, everything that comes with it. The battery and the chassis is the same for everyone, So it's pretty cool and a lot of fun to drive with it around the street courses that we race at. This car weighs 900 kilos, including the driver. It has a total of 250 kilowatt powers. It accelerates from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in roughly 2.8 seconds. We do not run slicks on these. We run groove tires, so we can run the same tire in the wet and dry conditions. Yeah, chassis of course is carbon fiber. We do have the halo, which is the head protection that is also being introduced in Formula 1. The battery has a capacity of 56 kilowatt hours, which means the race length is 45 minutes plus 1 lap. Yeah, so before I was racing in Formula E, I did all sorts of Formula series. So I started in Formula 4, Formula 3, Formula 2. I did GT racing. I was racing in Le Mans in an LMP1 car. So I've seen quite a lot of cars. I've driven DTM cars. But now I'm here in Formula E. Of course, it's a bit different in Formula E because you don't just need to be fast, you also need to be smart, because with the energy we have available, we actually need to try to save energy in order to make the full race distance. This might sound weird in the beginning, but actually it does create strategy and awesome racing, because it's very important for us to be clever in how we spend the energy, where do we recuperate, all sorts of stuff. So it's getting very technical, and as a driver you need to really do a lot. In season 5 now we have a new feature called attack mode, which is a designated area on the track that we run through, press a button, and then actually we get an extra power activation for a period of time, which means then we can try to attack, overtake maybe, but also means we consume more energy, and it really creates good racing and a lot of action. And in the end I think that's what racing is about. It's about being close to each other, making contact, overtaking, all that stuff. So if you watch Formula E, you will realize that it's super close right until the finish line.
And Van's going to get him this time. He's got the overlap. He's got the overlap. He's going to force the issue. Piquet's still there. Van through. He's going to go Heidfeld.
Then there's another feature in Formula E. It's called fan boost. It basically is made for including the fans a bit more into what's going on. So fans can vote for their favorite driver in advance of each race, and the top 5 drivers of the voting get a fan boost for the race, which means once in the race we can press a pedal and we get like a 2 seconds power boost, which could be enough for you to overtake someone, but not necessarily. So I think it's just a little bit. It gives the fans this little feeling of being involved, but it's never going to change the total outcome of a race. With this car we have a brake-by-wire system, and every time we brake we also recuperate energy. So there's a lot of software going on that is trying to calculate the ideal brake balance. We can set it up ourselves. We can do a lot of changes on how much we recuperate. Of course in the race you want to recuperate as much as possible, but then it can also create instability on the rear, so maybe you have to adjust according to grip levels. If it rains like now, you can only run maybe half of the recuperation than before. So it's another factor that really needs to be understood by the driver, by the engineers, and that can lead to you being a bit better out there on track. Yeah, so the concept of Formula E is basically to go race where the people are, which is in city centers of iconic cities. We go to New York, Berlin, Paris, Rome, Hong Kong, all sorts of amazing places really. And this actually means that we run on normal streets. It's not a proper racetrack, it's really the road that gets closed. There's a track layout being designed, and it means that you have all the bumps, all the lines, all the trickiness of a normal road, and we go race there. So as a driver, it's very hard first of all, because you need to go to the limit, but if you go over the limit, there's no runoff, there's no gravel, there's just a wall. So you're gonna crash the car if you go over it. Also for overtaking, it means there's not a lot of space. it just gets very, very tight. And that's why in Formula E you will see people doing mistakes, maybe a bit more than on a normal track where you would just go wide, come back. Here you cannot do that. You're gonna smash your car and your day can be over. As a driver, it's pretty tough, but it's also exciting. And I think also as a fan, if you watch it, it's pretty cool because you want to see people close to walls, rubbing the wall with the car and still being at the limit. And sometimes, some accidents also happen, which I think is also something that in the end fans enjoy. So the difference between the Gen 1 and the Gen 2 car is actually pretty big. I mean, the Gen 1 car was a very basic Formula car and also the same motor, the same stuff for everyone with a 5-speed gearbox. And then we went on to develop our own powertrains since season 2, which means the motors got way more efficient. We went down to 3-speed gearbox to now just 1-speed single gear. And of course you will see that the shape, the overall look of the car has changed a lot. I mean, it used to be super basic in its look. Now it has its own identity, looks completely different. We have the wheels covered, we have no more classic rear wing. We have like 2 small rear wings and a lot of downforce created from the huge diffuser that we have. So there's been a lot of stuff going on. Also, of course, software, everything is just much more sophisticated. And that's the way forward. You know, we try to really push this technology to the limit and to just get better and better every season. So we basically have no real driver aids, so we don't have any ABS, we don't have a traction control, it's not allowed. So there's of course some software stuff that tries to help you a bit with recuperation and braking and getting the brake balance right and stuff like this. But if you brake too hard, you brake too hard, you're gonna lock and spin. There's nothing that saves you. The same for accelerating. If you're too early on power and you go too much on it, you will have rear snaps. And that's why you will also always see drivers really being on the limit, sliding, trying to keep the car in control. And I think that's the best way. You know, you want the driver to be in charge of what's going on. So on the steering wheel we have a lot of information actually. Starting with basic stuff, you have the lap times, the delta lap times, and then it comes to the, let's say, the more important stuff, which is the energy. So you see your target consumption, you see your last lap consumption, your delta consumption. So there's a lot of information going on, and as a driver you need to just be aware of what to look at, what to do with the information. And then of course we can also change power maps, we have recuperation settings. There's a lot of stuff going on that we can change as drivers and that can maybe help us to be better. So we're about to hit the track in a really wet condition, which is not something we're used to in Formula E. We never had a wet race, so if it stays like this it's going to be a very, very challenging one. But for sure also pretty exciting. So yeah, I hope you tune in, I hope you support us. Give us a fan boost and see you at the track.
And we go green in Hong Kong. It's a good start from Rowland. Surely he's going to take the lead. He does. Oliver Rowland leads into turn 1. Gary Paffett looking up the inside. Sam Bird isn't stopping. There's a few crunches in there and Lotterer tries to get through. And here comes Andre Lotterer up the inside of Stoffel Van Dorn, and Lotterer immediately pounces. Bird's going to hit him. They make a little bit of contact down at Tamar Park. Couple of 2 kisses there. Oh, slowing is Oliver Rowland. Oh, Bird's gone wide. Bird goes straight on. He's made a mistake. Lotterer makes the mistake. The 2 go side by side towards the chicane, like they did on the opening lap. Oh, he's looking. They nudge. Oh, and Lotterer's got damage. Flat tire. Lotterer's got a puncture. Sam Bird wins on the streets of Hong Kong.
Sam Bird received a penalty for his move on Andre Lotterer. That promotes Eduardo Mortara of Venturi Racing into first place.